The dark days before Christmas. Now, there's a certain song by John Lennon. So this is Christmas, and what have you done? That's the lyrics anyway. That song makes me cry no matter where I am in the world. I don't know why. Very emotional song, isn't it? And from 2014, after 8 years sober, I relapsed back into alcohol. And I used to get, can't say that, but I used to get to the pub now and again between 2014 and 2019 when I was seriously ill. But every winter was more of a struggle than the spring and summer, obviously, because of the dark nights and sat in the flat alone, with things deteriorating, my health deteriorating, me drinking more, losing relationships, friends, everything really. Life just crumbled after 2014. And this time of year is particularly bad for heavy drinkers, alcoholics alike, because it's an emotional time. Think about things you maybe should have done. You have regrets. You think about family members that are no longer here. And if you're into alcoholism or active addictions, I call it, this is a terrible time. Have a drink of water. It's not gin, it's water. I've never drunk gin. However, it gets dark early, and sometimes I used to sit in the flat alone with no heating, no hot water, reflect on things I should have done. Why didn't I stop drinking? Why had I relapsed? After 8 years sober, my life was good. And I used to sit there and sip alcohol, lager mainly, all day and all night until I just went into a stupor really. And as winter comes in, you feel less able to go out, especially when it's icy around here where I am. It's not rural, but they don't create any of the pavements. When you're in active addiction, you tend to be malnourished, a bit unsteady on your feet anyway, and you're always topping up the drink. You never feel particularly strong. And this particular winter of 2018 going into 2019, I was very, very weak. That was a year before I actually got admitted to hospital. I remember it quite well. And basically what happened was, I was more or less trapped in the flat. It was quite a bad winter, if I remember. And some of the taxis weren't running. And the only thing I could get to get alcohol was to bring this company Dial a Drink, who would charge massive prices for their beers and drinks. I used to just drink lager then, Stella lager. I had so many cases of beer in the cupboard. I was so anxious of sort of running out. A couple of friends would make it, maybe drop me a little bit of food up. I never really ate. I just had a few tins of soup in the cupboard, but never really ate much. And I used to put had an iPad, just a couple of songs on. I used to have a radio as well. And constantly in November, December, they played this song. And so this is Christmas, You Know It by John Lennon. I used to sit and cry. My life had just completely crumbled. I still get emotional with it now. I did before I started drinking heavily, to be honest with you. It's just one of those songs, isn't it? And the dark days before Christmas, I used to wake up sometimes at, say, 5 o'clock. I didn't know whether it was 5 a.m. or 5 p.m. because when you look out the window, there's not much going on, is there? Even at 5 p.m. in the winter, it's so dark and cold and nothing really changed over the winter time. And the dark days of Christmas are when a lot of people will relapse. Because if they're a little bit fitter than I was, and I was pretty much ill then, if you still get out and about, you're walking past a nice pub and you think, oh, I'll just have one. And then you're back into the swing of it again. And this is a really dangerous time for people to relapse. This is one thing I've gone on about quite a lot, relapse, because it will, I think that's the killer. It's not pointed out enough by the medics, I don't think. Because the mental health thing, the relapse thing, you have certain triggers. I mean, I relapsed due to a relationship. Everyone's different. Some people relapse because they have cravings. I didn't have any cravings for alcohol. I knew it was going to get me in a mess again. GPs won't prescribe diazepam. It's very difficult to get rehab. I couldn't get a rehab. You know, I was seriously ill. But anyway, I got into hospital because I was really on death's door. There's guys in the ward I was in coughing up blood and all sorts. Guys were yellow. There was all sorts of seriously ill people being admitted, but heavy drinkers weren't being admitted. There's so many of us that the NHS can't go. You can go private, but it's very, very expensive. And apparently the failure rate from rehab is quite high as well. It's a terrible addiction, alcohol. So when you before you get to the stage I am, You've got to think about cutting down and stopping, because every Christmas you'll notice it more. I don't know why it's Christmas time that people get so emotional, things go in your head, and you worry about things more, and you get more anxious, and you've got pressures to do things, to meet people. I couldn't do any of those things. And that particular Christmas, my daughter came up from Manchester and took me up to my parents, but everyone knew I was drinking. But I packed a small case, just to go to Moat, which is only a few miles away from where I am, for a couple of days. And what you got in the case? Oh, just presents and whatnot. I just made it up because I had to have a stock of beer. But I knew there'd always be a stock in my parents' garage. My dad was still alive then. There's always cans of beer. He wasn't a heavy drinker, but there was always something available. So I used to make sure I sneaked one or two of those up the bed. But I used to try and put some music on or something to mask the sound of me opening the can, and make sure that it would be in the shower and all that. The whole thing was a nightmare. When you're drinking, you try to hide it, and you're not hiding it very well, to be honest. You turn up with a case for 2 days. I mean, let's be fair. So my daughter was saying, what's in the case? Oh, this, that, and the other. And I'd put cans and a couple of bottles I had of lager. I'd put them in socks, so that when they sort of knocked together, it didn't clang. All this sort of things, a full-time job just to try and get a few supplies. And you also don't eat well, so everyone's like keen to get this Sunday lunch down there. I'm just thinking, God, I need another drink. So I kept having to pop upstairs. Where you going? Why are you going upstairs? Oh, I don't feel that well. Or all these excuses. And people, when I look back, will know what I was doing. And then put the music on, or the radio on, and try and mask the sound of this can, and all that. And it's just like the whole world's collapsed, and you don't feel particularly well, and you come down and try and get a bit of lunch, and you're picking up the food. And my mother was still alive, and she said, you used to push the food around the plate. I don't know if you've seen anybody who's a heavy drinker, but they don't eat very well. I've got a friend who goes to one of the local Spoons pub, who drinks probably 2 or 3 bottles of red wine every day. And he's very, very, very thin, very malnourished. I mean, he said to me the other day, I'm so thin I got blown away in a high wind. He wasn't kidding. He's the same age as me, but he looks 20 years older. He's malnourished and well, a bit grey looking, pretty rarely. He gets something to eat, and he doesn't eat it. He pushes it around the plate a little bit, then you get a couple of napkins and take it home. He's not badly off financially. You just make this, well, he creates a scenario where people think he's going to eat something, and I don't fancy it yet, I'll take it home. He'll just put it in the bin, because he's so thin. There's all these things happen. So you get your Christmas lunch, everyone's pretty happy, enjoy. You haven't got the strength to pull a cracker, to be fair. All you're thinking about, I just need to get back upstairs and get another drink. And when they bring the drinks on, I say, oh God, thank God for that. It's a relief, get a couple of drinks down here. So drink a bit more, and then by 7 o'clock, so tired I used to fall asleep. All these sort of things. I wasn't a normal person when I was drinking. Every occasion was spoiled. Everything was just not good. So that's a little bit of a warning. If you're struggling with alcohol, please get in touch with me. Please subscribe to the channel and think about cutting down or stopping if you can, because it will ruin your Christmas, it will ruin your life. It's a bit of a start warning, but as it is approaching that time, please be aware. Keep out the pub as well. The cosy pub, which I think is going to be so wonderful. There's log fire and the dog wandering about. No good for you. Keep out the boozer. Speak soon.